All right, are we there? Let me try that again. All right, are we there?
Yes.
Deja vu all over again. Hey, everybody. Coach and Andy show time. I guess, I don't know if everyone's waiting for us to be at a specific time every week. A little bit of technical mumbo jumbo as I'm trying to get used to a new iPhone. And since I've never owned a phone in my life, the learning curve, she's a steep one. So, yeah, we're a little late getting started, but I think we have things figured out. Waiting for people to come on board. If you're on board and you're waiting for Coach and Andy show, then throw some thumbs across the screen and some hearts and all that nice juicy stuff, and we'll get on with the episode, which we don't really have anything planned today, so
we're gonna wing it.
We're gonna rely on Q&A.
Yeah.
So hopefully all out there, unless you've been living under a rock, you know about absbyandy.com. That's absbyandy.com, which we worked on for a long time.
5 months, yeah.
5 months.
Great project. It's blowing up the internet.
Yeah, it's blowing up. Of course,
your copy.
You get to see fitness cover model, supermodel, my protege here, Andy the man. So, yeah, you might have questions to do with that. The feedback's been great. You're getting feedback. Yeah. I'm getting feedback.
Yeah.
Lots of testimonials and people loving the product. So, by all means, get on there and learn that there's no magic exercises. The magic is in the method. So, how are we doing there, cameraman? People coming on board? We got more than 10? All right, more than 10. What do you folks want us to talk about today? Maybe get us in some questions and we'll try to get you some answers. And maybe some exercise demos if you want to see some. Just let us know. But we're here for you guys, so by all means, let us know what you want to hear about. And we'll take it from there. Anything yet? Nothing yet, so just dead air.
We can talk
Anything you want to talk about?
The exogenous ketones.
There's a new supplement every month, and most of them are garbage. So, yeah, you can take that one. I have nothing to say about that except, like, really? But go ahead.
Yeah, I had an email from,
someone
that wanted me to get behind exogenous ketones. So
supplement.
Yeah, basically it's, to keep your body in a state of ketosis without having to, I guess, low-carb diet. I guess that's the take on it. So you just take these, this supplement form of ketones, and boom, there you go. The Navy SEALs are using them, and it was a little, ridiculous. It goes against pretty much everything that I stand for.
And that's what happens, folks, when you get a little bit of notoriety and following online. You get people who want to cozy up. So Andy's first project, this kind of stuff happens. You get someone saying an email, hey, we'd like to use you. You'll really love this. And obviously someone who didn't know your background too much.
No.
Knowing that we don't do the supplement thing. We're all about the realities of consistent, applied, same old non-sexy stuff in order to induce the sexy result. So interesting story. But yeah, that's going to happen more and more to you as the product continues to blow up. People are going to continue to want to, want you to get pony up with them for stuff like that. So one of the things I wanted to mention, we were just doing a podcast together, first one we've done together. So you were on my Smarter Sculpted Physique podcast. And one of the things that came up that I wanted to mention is what we call situational hypermetabolism. As everyone knows, I just got back from Aruba, and I experienced situational hypermetabolism on there because of the changing climate and making sure I'm out in the sun and the body trying to cool itself down, along with being off my diet for an extended period of time, revs the metabolism up, keeps it going up. But what people need to understand is not just while you're there. So I get back, I get back, and cameraman and yourself all said, wow, you look even leaner than when you left, even though I was,
taking out
eating my way out of a vat of donuts. But that continues. So this, I went right back to my cycle diet. And then, of course, last weekend, my refeed day, for the first time in years and years and years that I can remember, I ate over 3 liters of ice cream on my cheat day, refeed day, whatever you want to call it. So there's a carryover of hypermetabolism, situational hypermetabolism. It just doesn't happen while you're in it. In terms of metabolic response, there's always the 3 realms of time: the immediate, right, the residual, and the cumulative. So situational hypermetabolism acts both in the immediate and the residual realm of time, so that I ended up just going back to my diet for 5 days. My metabolism was still so situationally hypermetabolic that I ended up eating
3 liters of ice cream. That's pretty good.
3 liters of ice cream, and enjoyed every loving spoonful, as the saying goes. So so that was something I noticed, and it just so happened that a few of my clients were also taking time off and writing how amazed they were with the cycle diet, their weight coming right back down again, whereas they used to worry and be all concerned. They just take the time off. And then when I was off in Aruba, you took some days off.
I definitely took a few days off too myself. I always noticed too for my afterwards I can eat more, like going back to my diet, and then the next cheat day I can actually I can really,
it's almost a super compensation response.
Absolutely.
So that's very important. So hopefully we got some questions and comments coming in, folks, because we're here for you, and we have no agenda today because our projects are done. So we're just going live for you guys. So fire when ready.
Stephen called in and indicated that he's not into supplements, but is there any benefit to creating for a platinum member, for example, over 61 years of age?
For a platinum club member, I would, wow, what a great, God, we get smart people writing in. Kudos, folks, for the smart people that are on here. I love when we get, just every week, right? People get smarter and smarter. The questions get better and better. So, Stephen, is that PH or VE? Stephen or Stefan or?
PH.
Okay, Stefan, hopefully I'm saying that right, but what a great question. Yes, creatine is about the only supplement on the planet that does anything.
It definitely works, for sure.
It's known as an adaptogen, which is a product that helps the body adapt to stress or bring the body back to homeostasis. Just a fancy definition for people there. However, if you are in the Platinum Club, which means, someone read my book, Physique After 50, and you're pushing mid-50s like I am and stuff, personally, I don't think creatine is worth taking at that point because of the osmotic changes that it induces. It can be hard on arthritic joints because you get a lot more water leverage around the joints, which is one of the reasons that creatine makes people stronger, and it fills out muscle cells. But that can be a lot of pressure on joints for people my age and older. So didn't you say 61? So at 61, I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're really challenged with something like sarcopenia and you're really having trouble with basic strength, like getting out of a chair or getting out of bed or sitting on a toilet or something like that. Then I would just say make sure you're on a good program and go from there. So there's one of those things where we have a caveat, right? Like in general, yes, a good idea, but for a specific demographic, not so good an idea. So also for women, creatine.
Application is everything.
Yeah, for women, creatine, it'll make you stronger and stuff. However, I've noticed in women it causes a lot more water retention, especially in the areas that women don't want water retention. So again, another one of those specifics, right, where we don't have a blanket answer. So very good question, very, very good question.
Lydia checked in.
Hey, Lydia.
What are your thoughts on a one-day fast, similar to like having a one-day refeed / cheat day?
Well, they're not even remotely the same thing. One is depriving your body and one is overfeeding your body. So I've never been a big believer in fasting. There's lots of places you can go online that support it. I think it's ridiculous. The body knows, the body's wise, the body wants food, needs food, the colon cleans itself. So all this stuff about cleanses.
All this thing about detoxing where,
silly.
You don't need to detox your body. That's why
your body is
liver and kidneys.
Your body is self-detoxing. Most endocrinologists, experts, unless they're trying to gain a buck, will know that. So not a big fan of the whole fitness industry's big on whatever the medical community is not doing or not saying. But this is just one of those times where the fitness industry is just wrong. So not a big believer in cleanses and fasting, never have been, and I'm sure you concur.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You're not a car. You don't need to, get your oil changed and get your fluids changed. It's just, your body does that.
Especially if you're on a healthy diet.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's fluids, plenty of water. That's probably your best bet.
Yeah. Hopefully that answers, Lydia. And I mean, someone will throw some research up there or whatever, but again, I rely a lot on experience and research as well, but there's nothing that's ever convinced me that fasting, but I'm not sure how, Lydia, you compare fasting with a refeed. I don't know how they relate to each other at all, so it's sort of a black and white antagonism, really.
Yeah.
So anyway, hopefully that answered your question. We got another one?
Yeah, John has checked in.
Hey, John.
Scott, what sort of abs routine have you been using? Your waistline seems to have gone way down.
Yeah,
I hear anything.
I hear that a lot. I haven't trained. I've substituted ab training with rotator cuff stuff because of my advanced osteoarthritis.
Yeah, I see you do
You see me all the time. Internal one day, external the next.
I haven't seen you do any abs.
No, I haven't done abs in 10 years. But change of seasons. What happens there? Again, situational effects. I start going for my walks when the winter's over. So I hibernate in the winter. Kind of like a polar bear. And then when the spring summer comes, I start going for walks because of where I live. It's just beautiful, and for a little while you get a benefit of that, and that's what I'm experiencing. Plus, everyone's been saying that since I got back from Aruba, which is what we've been talking about earlier on. I go to Aruba because I'm on the cycle diet, optimized metabolism. I go to Aruba and I try to gain as much weight as I can, which sounds counterintuitive, but we were talking about that on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I try to see how much weight I can gain, and the result of that is when I go back to my diet, it just tightens.
Much better, yeah.
Just tightens up.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing anything specific, but I definitely I get those comments a lot, especially every year when I get back from Aruba. So I'm not doing anything extra. I just start going for my walks this time of year, and it's not to burn fat. It's just because I like being outside.
Oh, absolutely.
So so it's just, and because I work at home, I sometimes train at home. I'm always at home. So I like to get out. I go for a walk after a workout, but it's not to burn calories or lean out. But it certainly has that effect in the initial going. The problem with aerobic activity is that effect dissipates real quick.
Yeah,
so that's why you would never want to do cardio all year long, because then you got nowhere to go. So
that's why I haven't done any in over a decade.
Yeah.
Long-term leanness, right? People always look at bodybuilders, but they do it for 16 weeks before a competition, but then they stop doing it and they get fat again. They just do it for 4 months.
Well, so they have to do it to lean out, whereas you're lean and you don't do anything. So hopefully that answered your question there. I appreciate the comment, by the way. But yeah, I hear a lot of that every year, and it's the answer is I haven't done abs in years and years because I traded it in for my rotator cuff work at the end of my workout, because there's only so much you can do in a workout. You can't do everything, especially physique after 50. Those workouts have to be short, so some things have to be sacrificed. But yeah, I am trimming the waist. So, but that's part. I mean, you got to walk your talk.
Yeah, I mean, how long have you been working out now? Though?
4 decades.
So it's, ab-specific training for you probably isn't
it's
that
not
important anymore.
Yeah. And don't forget, folks, I've had 2 discs removed from my lower back in 2000. So ab training gets a little more complicated for me because of that. So the tweak I needed to do the most was take care of my rotator cuffs so that it become like my back. But yeah, if you know what you're doing, the ab work takes care of itself. And a lot of that is diet related. And like we've been talking about, one thing that's diet related that no one connects is metabolism is related to diet. Yeah. So being on the cycle diet, keeping a robust, optimized metabolism by having overfeed days, that's another shot against fasting. Fasting is likely to induce lipoprotein lipase sort of switches to fat storing rather than fat burning, and you always want to be that revving machine. So another great question. God, I love it. I get so jacked when we get intelligent, really good questions. Not that they're stupid ones, but it just shows our audience is really, really knowledgeable and aware and keen, and that's great.
There's a little something here from Tina. She has been with us in the past, and the last time she asked about macros. What she meant to say was was it okay to take both carbs and fats with protein on the same meal, or is it preferred to separate those so meals would be only carbs, protein, or fats, protein? All protein-sparing macros are, of course, on a day's menu, and I eat a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's what it looks like over the day, not necessarily through the meals. I thought I answered this. Go ahead, you take it first, and then I'll add to it.
Not an issue. I would say you can definitely mix protein-sparing nutrients with each other, carbs and fats and protein. I definitely have a few meals that are like that. It's really about your daily calorie balance. Don't buy into this magic combination of I think you don't want to add and Coach has talked about this. You definitely don't want to add a lot of fruit with starches. That can definitely cause a negative cosmetically, not fat gain, but just water gain. Water looks the same as fat on the physique, so I mean it's not something that you probably want if you're interested in looking lean. So
so I'm Tina, I thought we answered this last time, and maybe I left some stuff out or misunderstood the question, but exactly what Andy's saying is true. It's how it looks over the spread of the day, how much the protein-sparing nutrients are put together. Now, there is what we call cosmetically friendly foods that are more cosmetically friendly than other foods, right? So you're not going to see pasta on someone's diet who's trying to peak. Like, you're just not going to see that because it's not a cosmetically friendly food for whatever reason. So things like that. But in general, I mean, there's nothing wrong with all three. For instance, one of your meal 6 meals, we just had a podcast and talked about that, is fruit and nuts. Well, that's the perfect combination. A good protein, but a low protein with a good amount of healthy fats from the nuts, and then the fruit providing a really good amount of good carbohydrates and fiber.
Absolutely. They digest very well.
I mean, often what's healthy is also cosmetically friendly.
Absolutely. People seem to miss that. They need to be starving and
so I mean, there's a lot of Tina, a lot of much ado about nothing in the fitness industry, where people want to make everything as complicated as it can possibly be, because that must be why you haven't reached your goals, because it's just not complicated enough. Whereas the real experts will tell you it's really because you haven't simplified things enough. With oversight, of course. If you don't know the difference, then you have a coach who does, and that helps things as well. So there's a lot of overemphasis on macros, but I say the more you can stay away from a Fit Day app, the better. So that kind of thing. I don't want clients who are glued to apps on measuring, counting, all those things. That's not, to me. That's not liberty. That's not what fitness is supposed to represent. Fitness shouldn't be a prison. It shouldn't be a tomb. Okay, it should be about being vibrant and healthy and having a life outside.
It's no benefit anyways. Like, people they track all this stuff, and it's not helping you anymore.
There's research that shows that's not even offering all that much help. But in the fitness industry, again, it's all about the illusion of control. So the more stuff we think we're controlling, then the better off we should be. But I see people more tormented by that than freed by it. So hopefully that's a long answer to a short question. If that answered your question, Tina, by all means, just throw us a thumbs up. What else we got, Brian?
Well, this is something that we're going to do here. We just want to provide good information for everyone, and if you could demonstrate a good rotor cuff DB exercise.
Well, I wouldn't use dumbbells for rotator cuff, for one thing. I don't like the gravitational pull. And I presume you mean dumbbell. So
I see people when they first get to the gym, they pick up
a weight,
and they start. I'm like, ooh.
Right. So what I don't like about that is, again, the alphabet of training is the ground gravity in the body. When you're holding a dumbbell, the gravitational pull of resistance is even more stress on the joint. Okay. We also see people. This is a little bit away from the question, but Again, people warming up, like you said, they go into the gym, they grab a dumbbell, and they start swinging their arms around. Ouch and no, especially if you're over 50. Just use your body weight. And again, you want to invite your joints and your muscles to train. All right, you don't want to shock them into training. You're basically going to the gym and you're saying to your body, okay, we're about to do something here. I invite you to get prepared, right? You don't just go in and start hanging and banging.
No.
Too many people do that. But I do have rotator cuff movements at scottabelefitness.com, I think, and on my YouTube channel. If someone wants to write me and send in a question, I can post the link. But basically, the two that I rely on the most are just external rotation and internal rotation. So external being this, right? Pushing away from your body, not with heavy weight. And then internal rotator cuff, just like that. And Andy can vouch for you that I do those every single workout. So one day one day the other.
At the end of the workout too, right?
At the end. Yeah, never at the beginning. Although it could be used for prehab, functional work. People who do functional workouts where you're using more kinetic chain stuff would probably do a little bit at the beginning. And then there's scarecrows. Do you know what the scarecrows are?
I used to know.
Okay.
I remember.
Yeah, I had to do them way back. Scarecrows for the rotator cuff look something like this, folks. If you can follow me, you bring your fingertips down to your feet, and then perpendicular, you come up slowly with your elbows, and you hold that for a slow 5 count, and then you rotate your arms up as high as they'll go, and you hold that for a 5 count, and then you reach out as far as you can go, hold that for a 5 count, bring them back in, come back down, start over again. All right, that's called a scarecrow. Very, very healthy for the shoulders. Hopefully that answers the question. Show us some thumbs. If there's a follow-up, by all means, send them in.
Hey, Scott, we have a new follower. Her name is Stephanie, and she kind of loves the advice coming from you guys.
Great.
She would like to know if the cycle diet applies to small women like her. We don't have a lot of room for calories, and I have a big appetite. I have a healthy relationship with food, and I enjoy lifting, but I don't do a lot of cardio. But I really love food. I want to maintain being lean without compromising my love of food.
Well, okay, for a couple things, just read in there after the part about the cycle diet. I just want to reiterate something she said there. Right after the asking.
We don't have a lot of room for calories, and I have a big appetite.
That's a good thing, right there. Stop right there. Having a big appetite is a sign of not being in metabolic shutdown, okay? Which way? This way?
Yeah.
Both of us?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So having a big appetite is a good thing, folks. It's a good sign to a point, right? Everything is about boundaries, all right? Having a good appetite is good. Having absolute hunger, not so good.
No.
So the question about the cycle diet for a small woman is, forget gender for a minute. It does matter, so I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But it's all about metabolism. So it's about having a robust metabolism and being in supercompensation mode, which is all in the book and the course, the cycle diet. Just happen to have it. Want to zoom in on this?
They brought it back.
Yeah, okay. So this is the Cycle Diet book, and we got the course at thecycle.diet. That's thecycle.diet, not .com. Anyway, it's all in there about what super comp mode is, what relative calorie deficits are, things like that. So the first thing is to try to get someone, even a female, in super compensation mode by inducing relative calorie deficits over time. All right. Now, there are factors that affect metabolism. Height, weight, gender, body surface area are the most common ones. So if you're age, yes, sorry. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
So thanks for that correction. That's why he's my protege, folks. So yeah, if you're a female and you're short and you're over 50 These are metabolic things that kind of work against you. Doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means you're not Andy. You're the opposite of Andy, right? 6'4", all right, lean, young, all right, bastard. So those kind of things work for a metabolism. So there's just got to weigh those things out, but it doesn't mean that it can't be done. So good question, but having a good appetite is a good sign metabolically. That's a very good thing. People who lack an appetite, I'm not hungry in the morning, so I skip breakfast. That's not a good metabolic sign. So
definitely. I actually know a lot of overweight people that have no appetites. Like they eat once a day, and that's definitely a big part of it. Like why their body's storing fat. They've trained it to do that. So
yeah, exactly. You train your body what to do. And on a side note, how many people who skip breakfast and stuff they can't figure out why when they get home at the end of the day they night eat, they eat through the night. Well, that's because you're not feeding your body
5 hours straight and then go to bed, right?
Yeah, you're not feeding your body during the day. So so again, if you're not willing to change something, nothing's going to change. So that's an important thing to take away. We just did our podcast, so I remembered that. So another very good question, solid question. What else we got, Brian?
What do you guys think about eating eggs, even though the government dietitian guidelines talk about cholesterol so much?
Oh, you're talking about whole eggs then, obviously. There's no cholesterol in egg whites. So,
I mean...
What's your breakfast every day?
Egg whites.
And?
Oatmeal.
What's my breakfast every day?
Egg whites and oatmeal.
Imagine that. Okay. So, but I sometimes have oat bran, and then... for one season of the year, I get to mix that with grits because I have a client who lives down south who every year on my birthday sends me
the grits.
a big honking box of grits. So love me some grits. So, but yeah, whole eggs, it depends on how it fits into the rest of the diet, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If whole eggs leads to salami and cheese sandwiches and burgers and fries, then not so great an idea. Whole eggs in the context of fresh fruit and roasted unsalted nuts and everything else, then not so bad. But watching, of course, the fat levels throughout the day, so that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and speaking earlier of cardio, I mean, the lady mentioned not being a cardio queen or anything like that. Also a good sign. When's the last time you did cardio?
I don't even remember.
A decade?
Yeah, pretty much.
So
that's
a decade ago, but let's not hide the Blue Jays. Let's show them that they're still there, folks. So that's a decade with no cardio, and oh my God, he eats carbs. Well, again, I mean, how many times?
That's why I still look like this after a decade.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Oftentimes we do this kind of stuff, and the comments we get later on are, well, he can eat like that because he looks that way. No, he looks that way because he eats like that.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, so people need to really start coming on board the carb wagon. So.
Oh, definitely. I don't know how people can even work out on these low-carb diets. Well, they don't. I mean, you watch some of them in the gym.
That's true.
Some of the competitors, I mean, they're
shuffling along.
They're dragging their knuckles on the ground, right? Like, it's just...
You shouldn't be following any kind of diet strategy or training strategy that exhausts your system exponentially, because there's going to be a huge blowback and consequence for that. And I've always said one of my ableisms has always been, for every ill-advised diet there's an equal and opposite rebound, and a lot of people don't get that because they're so busy being online glorifying a short-term change until the long-term consequences happen. But then you don't see those people. They're no longer posting pictures of themselves, etc., etc. It's a sad thing to see, but that's the fitness sort of illusion of reality, right? So
people just don't know any better. They think that this is the way to do it, and or they're given ill advice from people that
12-week transformations, 12-week transformations, 12-week transformations. Well, where are they 20 weeks later? So yeah, good, Brian. What else we got?
What exercises can a person do to improve posture and frozen and tightness at the shoulder? This person's left shoulder or left side seems higher than the other. He also can't seem to get his arms raised up from the back, and when my arms are clasped behind his back.
Yeah, that would hurt. That sounds almost arthritic.
Yeah.
But it could be anything. It could be impingement.
Something with your pelvis too, if your
it's
shoulders
not
higher.
Yeah, it's not abnormal, and depending on activity, your strong side might take over if you have some kind of impingement. I would say before we talk about workout exercises, maybe catching somebody who practices ART, active release therapy, see if that works. Massage can often work out. There might be scar tissue in there. You don't say if you've got a history of working out or whatever, but back in the day was when I was huge, I had a ton of scar tissue that had to be worked out with various massage techniques that hurt like hell, but it was the only way to keep going because
the deep tissue stuff.
I literally was muscle bound. So that has pronounced effects as well. But you could have fat deposits, you could have scar tissue, you could be arthritic. All of those things will require different treatment modalities. So without knowing what those are, the first thing you would do with all that is stop doing any kind of barbell pressing. So no bench pressing, things like that, because that just produces a weak, well, not necessarily weak, but a protracted shoulder complex, and that doesn't help posture at all.
No.
So the other thing to help posture, of course, is core, and more core. Another reason to get Abs by Andy product, absbyandy.com. We call it Andy's Awesome Abs. We call it the AAA product.
Definitely.
And one of the solutions there is lots of planking.
I was just going to say that, the plank position, and there's so many different variations other than just a plank hold on your elbows. That's all you ever see anyone at the gym do, right? I mean, it goes so far beyond.
The simple advanced plank is just the lockout position, the push-up.
Yeah,
and then to advance that even more, show them in the TRX at the full extension. Just get in there with the full. So Andy's just going to put his, the other way, just face like push-up. So you're just going to lock out the push-up in with a TRX. So he's just going to come out, and so the full lockout position is one, and then this plank variation, pressing up, making sure your ass is in the air, and then if you want, go up on the toes instead of the balls of your feet, and then maintain that for a slow 20-30 count. Trust me, all the way through the posterior and the anterior chain underneath. That's good, man. That is wicked hard. So, it's not how hard is that?
Yeah.
So oftentimes it's not about magic exercises and stuff. It's about progressing exercises that have become easy, and you don't have to do that by adding weight and things like that. Because a lot of areas you don't want to be big, you want to be sculpted. So just talk about that TRX full lockout plank.
You definitely want to make sure you get your butt in the air. I see a lot of people when they plank, they tend to let their
core collapse.
Yeah, and it sags, and it makes it easier, right? So that's why people do it. But keep your butt up, and you will feel.
How hard is that?
Oh, big time. That's like to hold that for 20 seconds. That's a long 20 seconds.
It's a monster. It's a monster. So the other thing, of course, that you can do is stabilization variations, and oftentimes we can use with that vibration, right? One of the things that uses excellent vibration is the body blade. All right, so I don't know if people out there have seen the body blade, but this is a fun factor tool, and you can do all kinds of crap with the body blade. And that will help also with core stuff, and just a different emphasis on the muscles can produce, of course, invite a different response, right? So
I think we used it in the abs project.
We added a
variation, just as a progression.
Yeah, I mean a very simple one is just. And of course, if we move that perpendicular, you do these for like 20 counts, and then, of course, you can do body part movements with it, right? So just hold that out to the side and give it a side lateral raise.
This way?
Tilt it. I'll get out of the way. And then a little up and a little down. Yeah, just like you're doing with a dumbbell. And just turn towards the camera so they can see. Start up high and then, control it and down slow and up. You getting a shot of that? So the harder he vibrates that, the harder it is to control. You do 10 or 15 reps of that, folks. Yeah.
And there's the fun factor too, right?
Yeah. That's just a whole new adventure in pain. Now do a front raise. Switch arms if you want. Same idea with shoulders. So move the working leg back so you can get a more range of motion. And then when you get used to the vibration, there you go. Wait till we'll get that. Once he gets that going, I'll get him to turn to the side because it's a freaky view from the side here. Okay, now move it right in. Yeah, there you go. And keep it going all the way up above like your forehead. There you go. Down slow. And booyah. Good stuff. Good stuff. So that's just little variations. I've played with this sucker for years. You can do lying tricep extensions. You can do bicep curls.
Yeah, oxygen that too from that, right?
Yeah.
Like it's...
You can do all kinds of crap, folks. Like you can get in a plank and come out in front and just vibrate short range.
Yep.
Wow. Huge, huge fun factor. Stuff you can do at the end of your workout, right? Like a bird dog hold. Very, very simple. Right? And do it. And then just add vibration to it. Killer, killer diller. Right? Try that. Take it down to a bird dog. Yeah, watch the blade on this side so you can hit the bench here. Opposite leg. There you go. Yeah, counterbalance. Yep. Closer to the floor. And then, yeah, just now reach out towards Brian. Tell me you don't feel that down in there.
Yeah, it's a good.
So you can see way back at my workshop on my YouTube channel from way back in 2010, I did a blade circuit the last 8 minutes. 2 sets of those, and you're hypermetabolic. So yeah, if you ever get a chance to use it, and I never see them in the gym. You ever see them?
No. That's the first time I've actually ever seen one. Was
here,
I think
or
one
I did
one of your workshops in 2008. I was back in Ontario, but yeah.
Yeah. So great fun factor, great for core work, vibration stuff. Can affect musculature as well. It's not just for functional stuff. So again, people tend to think in blind spots and paradigms, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that. You've never seen a body blade, I imagine. So again, throw some thumbs up if you're still out there, and some hearts and all that crap. Facebook likes that. It's not that we need that kind of validation. Just Facebook really responds to emoticons apparently. So I'm told by my business manager that the more of those we get during a Facebook Live session, the better it is for algorithms and things like that.
Definitely. That's how it works.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, guys. Miles has checked in here, and while on the cycle diet in super comp mode, is it recommended to skip out on a refeed day to sharpen up cosmetically prior to a photo shoot or a special occasion?
It can, depending on the person, for sure.
There you
Depends
go.
how long you've been doing it.
In the early days?
Yeah, in my early days, I would definitely do that. Now, not so much. So it's because my metabolism has actually gotten better over time. So it's so programmed now that I just show up, and it's awesome. You know, I don't have to. There's no water manipulation. There's no, there's no, tweaking at all. No skipping cheat days.
It depends. Yeah. So it depends where you're at in terms of the metabolic continuum, right? So, and we just talked about that in the podcast,
yeah, we did.
right? Like we talked about how, and that's the thing about the unsexy part of a process like this. The longer you're on it, the better it gets, the better it works. You know, the more responsive your metabolism gets. Like we just had a question earlier, Miles. You might not have been on, but what I'm doing because I look leaner and leaner. Well, I just took 2 weeks off my diet, and that's the effect, right? The situational hypermetabolism holdover effect, crossover effect that continues even when you go back on your diet. So that's because Andy's been on the cycle diet 13 years. 12 years?
Yeah, like 11 anyways, yeah.
11 years, I've been on it for decades.
How many people
are going to stick to
something? If you told them, like, stick with this for 11 years, I mean, they're not going to do it.
Right, because they have to create a lifestyle, and people don't realize that. So, but yeah, Miles, absolutely, depending on where you're at, skipping a refeed or two can often just produce just enough sharpness that the camera can catch, but people in the gym wouldn't that kind of thing, just for sharpness.
Just water, basically. You're just tightening up that much.
So we, in the early days when I was in charge of Andy's diet and all that stuff, when he had a photo shoot, we would skip a refeed sometimes too. Yeah. But as his body matured and his metabolism optimized and more, I mean, that's what the cycle diet's about, that you can literally train your metabolism. Now he no longer has to do that. I mean, you see how he looks here every week, folks. There's nothing changing. There's nothing like he does the night before. So, that kind of thing. Hopefully that answered your question, Miles.
If I know I have enough time to drop the water from the cheat day, then I'll just take one. Like, say if I had a photo shoot on
Friday.
On Monday, and my cheat day's on Sunday, I wouldn't take a cheat day if it's the next day.
Good point.
You'd obviously show up a little bloated, right? So
a little water retention.
It's all time, right? But if it was on Thursday or Friday, because my water's going to be, it's going to be gone for me. So
good point.
Tom has a question about leg training. Lunges causes his hamstring to give up or cramp up, but he can do squats with no problem. What is wrong, or am I doing the thing wrong? Ever heard of the problem?
Is it both hamstrings or just
probably
one leg?
Yeah.
Is it the dominant or non-dominant leg?
Okay, don't make it tough, you guys.
It's not uncommon. I hear that all the time. As a matter of fact, my right hamstring over time is a little easy to tweak. And it's because you're producing a different, again, the ground, the body, and gravity. When you're going to a single leg and stepping, it's a lot different effect than having a bilateral base of support. So that's going to induce a different kind of recruitment pattern for the muscle. I would almost say that kind of description is all the more reason you should be doing more of them. But maybe more, less the failure, less weight, just more of the motion itself, the execution of the movement, and some Bulgarian split squats, because that produces the same single leg, and that creates a balanced demand, what we call a proprioceptive demand, laterally and up through the hamstring into the glute. And
he got back to us, and it is both, Scott.
It's both, okay. So that just suggests to me an overall weakness in the hamstrings, which I would watch your form on squats then, because if you're not feeling it in squats, then you might be squatting with your hips more than your legs. So there's a difference between a front squat, for instance, that is all about legs, and a back squat where you can tend to use a lot more hip to generate.
Style too, like
more powerlifting, more of a hinge joint activity. So that would remind me of those two things. But definitely, the other thing you'd want to do as part of a prehab for your hamstrings, in case it is some kind of neural issue, is just anterior reaches all the time. You see me doing those too, right? Yeah. And they look funny because they look so easy, but an anterior reach, and again, you can find those at scottablepfitness.com. We do them first. We start with two hands, and you just basically go down as low as your body will give you. Then you do an ipsilateral variation where you use same side, same hand, right? And you don't put your trailing leg too far behind because you don't want to counterbalance. So you really want to be off balance. And then you do a contralateral anterior reach, right, with the opposite hand, all right? And that produces huge demands, but through the deep longitudinal system from the foot right through up the hamstring into the glute. Great for prehabbing hamstrings and low back and firing of the glutes. So very, very easy move to do. You'll be surprised how hard it is when you actually do it. And that's something you could do part of warm-up or cool down all the time.
Asher has contacted us. When doing seated rows, he remembers reading that you recommended to come forward at the beginning of the movement to pre-stretch the lats. Is this not a problem because of the forward lumbar flexion?
I don't find it a problem, but I wouldn't say come forward. I would say lean into it. That would be my suggestion. Yeah. We got videos of you coming up doing a seated row. But again, in innervation training principles, the intensity of contraction is determined by the degree of stretch on a muscle, so pre-stretch with resistance. So this personal trainer advice of coming to here and sitting up straight and pulling like this is doing what?
Well, you're basically just just working your forearms and your biceps. I mean, you're not even stretching your back into it.
You're not engaging it. So in order to engage the lats, you have to lean into it, not unlock your arms, keep a slight, just a slight bend in them. And then, I mean, I've got online on the channel, I've posted lots of me doing seated rows. So a lot of over-analysis. I mean, again, the first thing that pops into my head, Bodybuilding 101, watch the original Pumping Iron.
Yeah.
Watch them doing seated rows.
Arnold's doing seated rows, and he's stretching away.
He's hanging them and banging them, yep, that's for sure.
That was back in the 70s. And,
So,
so.
We're going to get some hanging and banging t-shirts, folks. That's what we're going to do. So, ask Andy a couple questions. I'll be right back. Or Andy, talk about something interesting.
You're going to be like Garth on Wayne's World.
Lots of comments about the body blade.
Anyone? I mean, it's different. It feels a little awkward at first because it's it's tough to get a good rhythm going with it. But it's certainly a lot different than what than any exercise can really do for you. So it certainly creates a lot of stabilization demands. But yeah, Scott definitely likes to add torturous stuff like that to a lot of his workouts. But definitely check out the Abs by Andy page, absbyandy.com. It's a great project. Scott and I worked about 5 months on it, so it's got diet. It's got 4 ab circuits, a lot of lifestyle stuff. It's not just, it's not about just one magic exercise. It's about a whole methodology. So,
talking about absbyandy.com, awesome. So I just had to have a change of shirt since we're nearing the end of our show, Brian. So if you want to, this is for a particular follower of ours. So anyway, I just thought I'd have a little fun with some naysayers. So Brian's having trouble zooming in.
It's not zooming, baby.
Uh-oh. All right, well, you can scroll away. Who cares?
Oh, here we go. Anyway. I'm gonna just make it happen here.
All right. Anyway, didn't require this much attention, but oh well.
There we go, folks.
There you go, folks. Sometimes you gotta show them how you really feel. So, yeah. Anyway, any questions or comments coming in, Brian? No? Love the shirt, hate the shirt? I think our followers will appreciate where I'm coming from. But anyway, yeah, so...
oh, there we go. A few laugh out louds.
Okay. Good stuff. Well, I'm thinking about what else we can talk about today, but it's been a while, so unless you folks have something diet training related, again, remember the new product, absbyandy.com. We like to call it the AAA product.
The AAA.
The AAA. Andy's Awesome Abs. How to get and maintain lean abs all year long. And yeah, stay tuned for the Coach and Andy show every week. And get some good advice here and there if you're so inclined. And if you just want to disagree with us, that's fine too. But I'll have the odd message for those people. So, as t-shirts warrant. So, any parting thoughts for our friends out there? Show us some thumbs and hearts as we sign off, folks, if you're digging the Coach and Andy show. If not, then, send us your questions.
Alice loves the shirt.
Okay. Thank you, Alice. Well, that's one. One fan. Go ahead, buddy.
I like it.
Oh, good. Okay. I'll wear it more often. So I'll keep it.
Yeah. absbyandy.com for sure. RealAndySinclairFitness.com, and look out for
stuff we got going on. Yeah,
I'm on his podcast,
Smarter Sculpted Physique. Yeah, Smarter Sculpted Physique podcast, episode 57, featuring Andy and myself. And yes, that's it. And we will be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel.